All right, well, welcome everybody. We got a great lineup here for you today. We're going to cover our sales strategy to build manufacturers, rep, and contractor partnership for sustained growth. Today I'm hosted by myself here, as you know me very well by now with all the webinars we do, and Ted Nicholson, who is definitely our expert in this field. So I'm going to take a second here just to introduce ourselves, so in case you are joining us for the first time. My name is John Kenny, and I'm the CEO of Cotney Consulting Group and Chief Operating Officer here at Cotney Consulting Construction Law. So what we do is we specialize in the construction business, which is why you're all here today. So give you a brief background. I've been over 45 years in the construction industry, starting up in the Northeast in roofing, been in family businesses, top 100 companies down here in Florida, and worked my way from the roof, as they like to say, from the rooftop right up to the boardroom chief operating officer. So, passion is the industry, and that's really, we'll get in some deep dive here after Ted introduced himself, but that's what brought this concept really home with us. So Ted, take this minute here to introduce yourself, and it's glad to have you here today.
Well, thanks, John. I appreciate being here. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to everybody. Yeah, I've been, like John, I've been in the roofing industry for a long time, and started up in Cincinnati, working as a field sales rep for a major manufacturer. Actually, it was Celotex. Many of you may remember that name. And got a lot of good experience at that. Also was a product manager for single ply roofing for Celotex as well. But my background is it's always been roofing. I was recruited by General Tire from Celotex to go to work for them and help them get into the roofing business. Actually, I put together the business plan and actually was the first general manager of that company. It was called Genflex, which many of you may know. And I'll tell you the truth, I had a great time at that job. I didn't know everything I should have known, and the rubber and tire people knew even less. So it was kind of funny, but we all learned a lot, and I really had a great time doing that. Also, part of my career was one of my friends was president of Gates Engineering Company out of Delaware, and I was hired there to become vice president of sales and expand their market and into the single ply market. And they were an old manufacturer of waterproofing products and seemed to be a pretty good fit. Gave me a lot of experience in working with independent reps. I hired a lot of independent reps both at Genflex and at Gates Engineering, and had a really good experience in learning how sales really works in the field and what strategies work best. And I learned a lot from many of the independent reps who've been around for a long time. I worked on the manufacturer side in management and field sales for about 20 years, and then I got tired of the travel, very honestly. I was traveling all the time. So I decided to open my own independent rep company in Tampa, Florida. And that was quite an experience as well. Had a really good time doing that and was pretty successful with it. I used all the experience I gained from the people that I met and what worked for me dealing with independent reps, and started the company with zero sales, and actually transitioned out of that about 4 years ago. And at the end of that period of time, my sales were up to $40 million. Had a good team that I put together, a lot of relationships that was built up with contractors and others in the market, in this particular market, and we had good success with it. But that's my background. I enjoy this. I love this industry, actually. There's a lot of good friends I've met all over the country here, and I've learned that there's no matter what the market conditions are, there's opportunities out there, and that's what we want to talk about in more detail today.
Yeah, that was a great little history lesson there. I remember working with Genflex back when Genflex was independent, and also did work with Gates back in the 80s. So that's interesting. Celotex, of course, that was a big runner in the early days before we got all our consolidations and everything went on. But no, Ted, is a couple of us, like we just said, we've been around a long time.
That's true.
So I want to talk a little bit, getting into this, because state of the industry, right? So right now, it's been different. Like we just heard, Ted and I have been in this industry a long time. A lot of you have been in a long time, or if you haven't, but you're facing something now that none of us have ever faced. We've gone through oil shortages. We've gone through a lot of other things, bubbles, busts, but we've never had a pandemic that just doesn't seem to want to go away. And what I mean by that is I'm not looking at it from the medical standpoint. I'm looking at it from the overall damage that it's done, not only to the construction industry, pretty much the world economy, that continues to be a rolling effect. Right now, and I've talked to a lot of roofing contractors recently. Early in this, it was, well, I wasn't quite affected. It was, it's okay, business as usual. But right now, there's at least 90, if it's not 100%, you're affected by the pandemic as a roofing contractor. Whether it is sickness in your crews, contracts being canceled, delays, material deliveries, you name it, it's there. What the thing is, it's a $1 billion plus market, right? So the cost of material shortage, that's what it is in the industry. You get $1 billion worth of material that's backed up. I heard the other day, now you place an order for some material, you're looking at July, August of 2022 before you're going to get it. So that's quite a feat in itself. And then construction industry on a whole, nothing's changed. It hasn't got any better. I don't know about how much worse it's got, but there's 1 million people shortage in the construction industry. That's not only in the roofing end, as far as general contractors, mechanical, that's also there as far as our vendors, our suppliers, and our manufacturers. You just can't get enough people. Later time we'll cover probably robotics, dealing with that, but right now this kind of sets the stage where we're at in the industry. So that being said, we got some stats here. Ted, I'm going to kick this one over to you to kind of give us an outlook of what you see here.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of numbers on there, of course, and there's some key information, and it's total construction spending is high. And actual in 2020 was, you can see the numbers there, is $1,469 billion. I mean, there's a lot of money that's being spent in 2020, and that's even increased and year to date through June of 2021. I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that the market is still strong. There's still a lot of money that's being spent. If you look at those numbers too, just the top few numbers, that residential market, and this is not news to anybody, that's really what's driving it all. There's a huge demand for more and more housing, and that's going to continue. The forecast for 2022, and these are Dodge numbers, Dodge Construction Outlook numbers, it's going to continue to be strong. Now, John hit on it too. We've gone through issues before where we've had tough times in the economy, and my experience has been that even though in the middle of these things they seem like they're never going to go away, like, oh my God, that's the end of the world. Well, I look at it where every time we've gone through a difficult situation, there's always been opportunities that come up, and that's why we're focusing on these strategies today. I mean, let's face it, there's material shortage. Can you sell more? Well, yes, I think you can. I think there's ways to do that if you're looking for new business and new customers, new contractors, or new building owners to sell. I think now's the time not to sit back and just wait and hope that things get better, but take a more active role in it. John hit on it. In 73, 75, we had the OPEC oil embargo. Oh my God, the world's coming to an end. I think jobs went away. People were very, very concerned. Inflation was crazy at that time. In 80 and 82, interest rates went up. I remember when I bought a house in Tampa, the first house I bought in Tampa, I paid 16% interest rate on my mortgage. And that's just, those times were difficult too. Savings and loan debacle was terrible. A lot of people lost a lot of money. I'm just going to go through this quickly. 2008 was the Great Recession. I mean, who thought that we would come back from that? My point being is this, sure, we're in difficult times. Pandemic is the first one we've had to deal with, but I know based on my experience, I believe based on my experience, that this is going to pass. And there are opportunities, and my opinion is now is the time to set yourself up and make sure that you're ready and prepared, for this turnaround. Now, my own informal, I'll state it that way, informal survey of manufacturers I've talked to, they're telling me that they see inventories getting much better at the end of this year and the beginning of the spring of next year. Things generally slow down during the winter time up north with the snow and ice and so on and so forth. And it's not going to be any different this year. Things will slow down in the north. There'll be more time to build up inventories, and other components of the products that they were having difficulty getting. It may have been boxes, or it might have been release film or whatever. That's getting better too. So if you're looking at how to expand your business and put this current economic condition and material shortage where it belongs, and that's on the side, you can't just sit back and let your business stagnate. Now's the time to keep moving forward as well.
Absolutely agree. And you got to understand that this is one of the things we're going to talk about in this, why we put this together. We're never going back to business as usual. And I will tell you, you don't want to, okay? One thing that is always happens when you have these type of events is there's change. So you either embrace the change, but bring your best game with you with that change, and that's how you're successful. Let's face it, the oil embargo gets blamed or credited for really pushing single plies into the industry. I kind of not so much buying fully into that. I think asbestos was the nail in the coffin in the roofing industry that moved everything over. But the point was, we had a change, it moved in the direction, and you're going to see it now. And that's what I know Ted's going to get into here, you know, manufacturer sales experience, management experience versus independent rep. But I want the contractors out there to know they're listening. This is a triangle. When Ted and I looked at this was a triangle of everybody being in a relationship. Relationship selling will never go away, whether it's via Zoom, whether it's one-on-one, no matter how you look at it, and you got to bring value, and that's what this is all about. So, Ted, really what you covered on this one is a little bit of what is the difference and how do you succeed at both between that sales management experience for manufacturers and the independent rep experience?
Well, I can just speak of my own experience, of course, but I did meet a lot of people working for different manufacturers over the years when I was working for manufacturers. And there's kind of at the manufacturer level, I know they don't really know the full picture of what is faced by the field sales rep that's out there every day dealing with the contractors. It's they've got their own world they live in terms of they're great at manufacturing and scheduling and R&D and quality control and all the things that a manufacturer does. And some of them are great at sales as well and sales management. But the one thing they miss out on as far as manufacturers are concerned is when they hire salespeople, they're focusing on teaching salespeople product knowledge and basically what their products are and how they compete with other products. That's all well and good. But you know what? That's not enough. There's more than that out there that a sales rep to be successful has to know. And you don't really learn that unless you have an opportunity to speak to someone that has had that kind of experience and can tell you some strategies that have worked. I'm talking about strategy in this presentation, just an general view here we're going to get into about what worked for me, what worked for other independent reps and other sales reps that I know have been successful in this thing. So from the independent rep business experience was a great business for me because I was able to talk to and deal with the installers on a direct basis. Many times as a national sales manager or a vice president of sales, I was sort of isolated. You know, I really wasn't able to deal with the customers, the ones who were actually buying it. Sure, I met with the distributors, the big distribution companies, and that sort of thing. But the real important factor here in being successful is the relationship with the contractors, and that's where the manufacturers at the manufacturing side, that's where they miss the boat a little bit.
Yeah, it's all about adding value, right?
Exactly. Adding value and having that relationship with the contractor, so you've got his ear and he's going to listen to you and trust you. And that's something that's got to be earned too. You have to earn that trust. So when you're talking to a contractor, they trust that you're telling them and you know what you're talking about and you're telling them something that's in their best interest. So the difference between the two is that I learned a lot about roofing as a manufacturer, working for the manufacturers. I learned a lot about manufacturing processes and about how the whole system goes together. And in terms of sales training, when I was just in the field sales, hey, I was given a book, here, go out and sell this stuff. Well, you know, it's a pretty sophisticated market out there now. These contractors are big companies now, many of them. And some of them are mid-sized companies, but but it's a different kind of business today. More people are more sophisticated and want more information and more support. And that's the key, is the support that the manufacturer at the field level can give his contractors to really form these relationships.
So, coming up here, we got lessons learned through training, right? So that's really, a lot of people have told me over the years, and there's all types of training. So, we here at Cotney have developed a lot of training, and I've always worked big on training when I was on the contractor side, whether it's workforce training, whether it's your office staff training, your estimators, and so on. And we're working on that. So this really comes up as a new concept when Ted and I were talking is, how could this work? Because we're kind of, a little bit out from what we normally do, training I've had people training independent reps. How does that tie into the whole Cotney, the whole Cotney circle of how they're training? Well, it ties in really well, because as we were talking earlier about the triangle, and I think these days are hopefully gone forever. You're going to always have a certain percentage of contractors that are going to buy strictly by price. But with this pandemic, I think that's gone out the door a lot, because even though I think things will get better like you do towards the end of next year, and I still think a lot of this is going to roll into 2022. You can't buy new trucks, you can't get this. But that being said, we're going to all have to start planning better. When I first went into this industry, I never really bought through price throughout my entire career. Yes, you want to get your best price, but I didn't take that shopping list and go down for each item and say, oh, you're more here, you're less here. I wanted some value in it. So Ted, you and I did work together on both the contractor and the rep side at that time. And I think, and I'm going to turn this over to you while we're talking about training. These are lessons that you really need to get out there to the youth that's coming in to that, and to people who want to expand, or somebody that maybe wants to try this. But without training and teaching this relationship building of this between the manufacturer, because you're really in the middle, right? As an independent rep, you're kind of juggling this up and down. You've got a manufacturer that you owe to, you've got the contractor you owe to, and you're that great negotiator in between, making it all work. So through that, what kind of lessons have you learned over the years about the importance of this type of training?
Well, what I learned is that to really form the relationship with the contractor, you got to prove it to him that you're serious about this thing. And there's things you can do that will put you in a position to really form that partnership. And that's the key word here. This is a different level than you go online and or you talk to read a magazine, roofing magazine, or you talk to a roofing manufacturer. They all talk about customers, relationships, and partnerships and all, but I'm talking about taking this to the next level. And essentially, this boils down to making sure that your contractors, you got a network of contractors, but everybody wants to sell everybody, but you know what? You're not going to sell everybody. Some contractors are going to have a preference for one brand or another. And as an independent rep, you've got to define which contractors have your best opportunity. Now, I want to also clarify, we're not talking about the specification market here. This is a re-roof approach and roof maintenance approach and selling. And what I did, and one of the things I did, and one of the things I used to show my commitment and show that I was really truly in a partnership with my network of contractors, I'd go on joint sales calls with them to the building owners. I know, many contractors have relationships with long-term relationships with building owners. Some of them, they want to get into a new customer. And if you go together, what's been my experience is on a building owner, you as the manufacturer's rep can explain, the features and benefits of your products, and the contractor is also learning at that same time as well. But it's a powerful combination when two people, one from the manufacturer and one from the installation side, contracting side, are sitting there and talking to this guy. And I'll tell you what we did, it really worked well, was look, I would say to the building owner, all right, I know you hear many people come in here and tell you they've got great products, contractors have got great, there's many good contractors out there, but let's do this. Let me give you a small roof. Give us a section that we can do. We'll supply the material. Let us show you not just tell you how great it is, but let us show you. You come up on this roof with us. We'll show you how the installation goes down. I'll be there. Contractor that's with me will be there. The three of us will look at this thing. You can decide for yourself if what we're not telling you is right. Now, with that is also an opportunity to say, look, we could sell you this standard warranty system. However, if you use this additional product or whatever, we can get you a better warranty. We're going to give you all the different choices you want. If you want the lowest price, well, that's one thing, sir. However, or madam. However, there is more value in adding certain products to the system to give you a better warranty and a better protection. And I think that's basically what most building owners are looking for. Not always the cheapest route.
No, and I think from the contractor side, the reps that are out there listening, understand that you become invaluable to your roofing contractor with your knowledge, okay? You're going to help them close sales, which is what they're looking for. They're going to partner with you. I will say that most contractors realize that the systems you may be repping today may not necessarily be the systems you'll be repping in 5 years. That happens. That happens all the time. Not saying that's a good or bad thing, but the point is, if you've built your relationship with your contractor, they're going to stick with you and they're going to develop business with you regardless, because of your knowledge and your ability to bring value to their team. I know when I was on that side, I would love to bring Ted and other people like Ted into a job meeting with an owner, even before we close the job, and say, here, let's run through this entire process, what we're going to do. You've got the full backing of manufacturer X. Here's the rep from them. They can explain to you about their material. We're going to have deliveries on time. I know it's a little tough subject today, but deliveries on time. But, you've got the technology, and they're going to know that if there's a technical question, they don't have to wait for somebody up in a corporate office to answer it. They've got that relationship between the roofer and the manufacturer's rep. That's the big value in this.
That's the role what I'm talking about, that the reps should be playing. They should be they should be a consultant to their key contractors. They should be there if there's a problem. Everybody's got problems from time to time. If there's a problem, your rep should be the one solving that problem. You shouldn't be left as a contractor left alone to figure it out yourself. Well, go call technical service or go call customer service. No. This is you're the man, or the woman. You're the person who's the direct contact, and you work everything through for that group of contractors that you're working with to make sure that they succeed, and therefore when they succeed, you succeed. It's not brain surgery.
Like you said, that partnership. See, you need a deviation on a detail. The manufacturer is going to be more interested in listening to that rep that says, yes, I've been out on the job with John. John and I looked at it. This solution John came up with, it's the way we need to go because it's the only thing that'll work. Here's a photo of it. They're going to, I've got 99% of the time, I've always had it accepted. But if you try to go in yourself and do that as a contractor and you don't have that relationship, it's not going to work. They're going to kick it back because, they've got to follow their standardization. So again, this is what the whole thing is about here that Ted's hitting on and why we did this. It's relationships. And you bring a big, big value to the industry with the relationship. So moving on, we're going to be talking a little bit about sales strategy now, the goals and the focus and the plan of what's going to go on. I know you're going to deep dive more into the program here in a minute, Ted, but kind of give us the overview of the goal, focus, and plan.
Well, this is a program that's designed to develop a limited network of key contractors and in this partnership. And the goal is to create many new sales opportunities for the contractors, your network contractors, and obviously yourself as a rep. The focus, as I mentioned, is low slope and also to a certain degree steep slope roofing, but it's the re-roofing market and the roof maintenance market. That's what the sales strategy is set up with. And the plan essentially is a number of different issues that we're going to cover in the series of training videos. And is to use these time-proven sales activities to build a partnership, and it goes through step by step on how to train your contractors, also train, not just the installers, but also the sales team for the contractors as well, and be there as a support as much as necessary to make this thing succeed. So that's the goal, is to create new sales opportunities. And I think we can even do it in this market. And by that, I'm talking about whether you're a contractor or if you're a sales rep. There's new customers out there. You've got to get new customers every year, all the time. You've got to be looking for new customers all the time, because you're going to lose some customers every year too, by no fault of yours or no fault of that customer. I don't mean you're going to lose a ton of them, but that's a good possibility that's there. Unless you're growing your customer base, you're losing ground. So to do that in today's market, you got to go above and beyond the standard approach to sales, and really partner up with the contractors and work with them, help the contractors succeed. And that's what this whole sales strategy is all about.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, like you say, you do have attrition no matter what you're going to do. Somebody's going to retire, or a new person gets promoted in a job, and things move on. So you got to constantly grow. I like the focus of this being on the re-roofing and restoration and maintenance side. I know I'll get a lot of comments on what I'm about to say, but the honest truth is new construction, and a lot of contractors tell me about great relationships, but new construction is price only. I don't care. You may be able to have a relationship and get better than the bottom price of somebody that doesn't have the relationship, but that's not where it's at. Yes, you will have part of your business as an independent rep that will have some, you'll learn these skills. In the new construction end, that's where you've already built the relationship. So you'll get some new construction work that you don't have to be the cheapest price on, because you've learned these strategies and how to do this. But the re-roofing and the restoration market's 80% of the industry anyways, and that's the hard one to pick into, because people want to buy off of who they like, and that's what this is all about, learning how to build that as we go along.
Exactly right, John. That's exactly right.
So here, I know you're going to do a little bit deeper dive on this one. And so what this slide here is going to show, you're all looking at, and Ted's going to go down through these and give you a brief overview of each one of these areas. So really, this is the upcoming training topics. So this is what the program is essentially going to focus on this portion of the training. Correct, Ted?
That's right, yeah. Yeah, we're going to start off with the sales strategy presentation and talk about how you develop a sales rep contractor partnership. Now, you're absolutely right, John, that this is a triangle, in that all three partners, all three people involved in this thing, the contractor, the field sales rep, and the manufacturer, have to buy into this thing. And that's one thing that these reps, independent reps or otherwise, are going to have to decide. Are they working for or working with a manufacturer that gives them the leverage, gives them the opportunity to really form these partnerships? I know some companies that will limit the exposure of an independent rep when it gets to technical issues or whatever it may be. That's fine, but there's got to be a way to work together, because this partnership, this rep partnership, is a strategy that works in pretty much every case. That's going to help you and the manufacturer succeed. Now, to get there, you got to kind of qualify the contractor, and you want to also limit your competition. So, there's certain questions that we've used over the past to pretty much sell the contractor and the building owners on teaming up and becoming a partner with you, rather than working with some others. Now, there's a lot of relationships that are out there with the many contractors, but there's also a lot of contractors who essentially are going to buy, maybe it's on price or maybe it's on a recommendation or whatever, but there's a lot of contractors that are good target contractors that are available to partner up with somebody. And got to ask the right questions to get these guys on board with you, and we can help you in our training sessions on how to question these guys and how to lead them towards understanding that, look, you got not just the products, but you've got the ability to help them succeed. And that's what this is all about. Developing value-added solutions, that's something that the opportunities open up when you're there with the building owner, and you can talk about adding certain accessories or whatever it may be, depending on what kind of products we're dealing with, that helps you not only solidify the jobs and sell the jobs, but also increase the profitability for the manufacturer and your own income as well. That includes also upselling. Look, you can look at a basic system. Let's talk about, for example, a torch down system, a 2-ply torch down system. Everybody's got a 20-year warranted system out there that's with that. But what if you went to a 3-ply system? I'm just talking about modified now. It could be the same thing with single ply. It could be a 60 mil going to a 90 mil sheet. What if you increased the price of the material and the installation a little bit, but as a building owner, you got a better warranty and you got better protection. And something else that's new in this thing, that's now coming up, is resiliency. Resiliency. These hurricanes. Look, there may be some legislation coming out that says, look, we have to have, or insurance companies may be forcing it, there's got to be roofing systems that are available out there that are resilient, not just waterproof, but they're high-end wind resistant, and they meet the current demands. Climate change is a real issue. We're going to continue to have, so the experts say, continue to have worse and worse weather out there. So that's another opportunity to approach a building owner with, you want a system that's inexpensive, you want one that's got a 120 mile per hour wind resistance and warranted against that. So that's one of the things that we're going to talk about in that section. The joint calls with the building owners, I'm telling you, that's an invaluable sales tool. As an independent rep, it's a great opportunity if a contractor will let you do that and let you help him make these joint calls. I've just seen it. I've experienced it myself, and there are things to do in those kind of calls that I can help in our presentation there to help move that along, help the building owner along to make a decision. I put this next category in here too. It is important as an independent rep that you're working with a manufacturer that has a vision, the same vision you do, or you have the same vision they do, however you want to look at this thing. And that is that the contractor is the key in this thing. Distributors are the customers who buy the product. They're very important. They provide a lot of logistics and material handling and billing. They act as a bank to a lot of contractors. They're a very important part of this whole thing. But for there are so many products that are priced the same, look the same warranties. To be successful in sales, you got to be working with a manufacturer that is going to allow you and you together agree on a sales strategy that's good for both of you. And some of them are very difficult to work with and have it say, hey, we've already done it this way for years and we're not going to change. And we're not working in normal times. Now's the time to review that. Take a look at your sales strategy as a manufacturer and an independent rep. And lastly, you mentioned too, John, all these different market recessions we've been in. You've been around, I've been around for 40 some years. We do come out of it, but when there's market challenges, every time I have seen, there's new business opportunities open up. You got to look for them. You can't just sit back and wait and hope that this thing all blows over someday. There are things that we can help guide you on that helps you look for new opportunities and where to look and how to go about taking advantage of those opportunities. That's generally speaking, that's kind of the course that we're going to go through.
Yeah, and I'll just jump on the top of this. These are we work together putting these with your experience. And again, this is what the contractor's looking for. This is what the building owner's looking for. And honestly, this is what your manufacturer's looking for out of you too. So that's where it all comes in together, right? So, but as Ted said, we're working this training to give you all the skills you need to move forward. Because look at the last one here, market challenges equals new business opportunities. That, the biggest takeaway you can from that is whatever you're selling today, you probably will not be selling that 5 to 10 years from now. And let me tell you what I mean by that. When we started in the industry, it was coal tar pitch and built up. That was in asphalt. That was about it. And everybody said it's never going away. And I would call them dinosaurs. Well, guess what? It's still here, but now instead of being this much of the market, it's this much, right? From this pandemic and climate change and the weather we're having, severe weather and the material shortages and everything you're facing, you're going to see new products on the market in the next few years that do not exist right now. You're going to have to learn how to do that. Also, I want you to keep in mind that you may be selling the labor force of the future as an independent rep, because when you watch on TV, don't think these robots are being made to be cute little dogs and pets around the house. They're trying all this out, running marathons with them, because they're developing the workforce of the future. It's coming. So again, don't limit yourself to what today's finite world is. Learn these skills and be ready to jump out into the next level that's coming, because it is coming.
Absolutely, John.
So kind of getting into final thoughts here, Ted, I'm going to let you take the close on this. And then I don't know if we have any questions, but I think we might. But we'll get to that in a sec here. But I would like to say that this is an absolute great program we're coming out with. And Ted will talk a little deeper on how he's going to handle it. But this is based on the experience that Ted has gained over the years with today's knowledge and technology and understanding of what works and what people want, right? So the only thing I can say on this, when I've talked to a lot of people that have been in the industry a long time, and Ted, you'd mentioned Celotex. Now, I know when you first came in the industry, you had to go through a rigorous training program put on by the manufacturers. You had to learn everything they did. You had to do the plant tours. You had to learn their products inside and out. That's kind of missing today. And I know a lot of people are telling me that they're getting these crash courses, look at the internet, do this. So this is getting back to the basics of giving you the skills you need to do to absorb all this information and get it out to your client. So I'm going to turn it to you now for final thoughts, but that's what I like about this program.
Well, you're right, John. There's been nothing but change since I've been in this industry, and you've been in it too. And before that, there wasn't any changes hardly at all for the first 100 years or so of roofing. It hadn't changed for a long time, and it's going to continue to change. But the key is learning the new technology, learning the new tools that are available to you and using them as a rep, teaching your network of contractors how to use your manufacturer's tools, their website, their warranty registration program, their technical data information, so that it's convenient for them to get the information they need, submittal packages, all these different things that go into the commercial market and residential from time to time as well, to make sure your contractors are educated. You as the independent rep and the manufacturer's rep, it's your responsibility, and the better you do it, the more successful you're going to be. But to do that, you got to know this stuff. You got to know your products. You got to know how they're manufactured. You have to know, John mentioned plant tours, how they're, what makes your products different and better than your competition. And there's a lot of products that are very similar out there, but still, there's products that are there that are leaders in the industry, and there's reasons why they are leaders. I'll just give you one example, and not to mention brand names or anything. I'm not going to do that, but we had a stranglehold on a product that was one segment of the market, not because that we had the cheapest price. That had nothing to do with it at all. We didn't. We had a higher price than the rest of the market, not exorbitantly higher, but it was higher. But contractors used other products that the distributor would bring in and sell to them at a lower price, and they'd try it, but they wouldn't like it. So the quality, and the consistent quality, and the backup and support that you get as a contractor is very important to the success of the contracting business, and also the rep as well. So things are changing. They're going to continue to change. You're absolutely right. The changes that we've seen now are some of them are permanent, but what's not going to change is that personal relationship and personal selling. That's going to be the deciding factor in most contractors, and they're the key in this thing. That's going to be the deciding factor of what brand and that these guys use. And that's up to the rep to get out there and make sure that they are truly a partner with their contractors. And the rep starts it, the manufacturer supports it, and the contractor and the rep work together to make it a winner for everybody.
Well, Ted, if you're ready, I do have a question that came through here.
Sure.
I'm going to give it to you first here. Let's see. So I've got a question. This is from Bill. Bill's question is, what do you think about the shrinking distribution market?
Well, if you're talking about less independent or regional distributors, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Distributors are huge. There used to be when years ago, and not too long ago, that there were a lot of independent regional distributors and distribution, and seemed to work well. But the buying power that these big national distributors have is incredible. I don't think it's any big secret that the more they buy, the more those distributors get in incentives. So the one thing that hurts the mid-sized manufacturers in those kind of relationships is that if a huge manufacturer has more of an incentive total dollars to a distributor, it's tough to get your product on the floor as a mid-sized manufacturer. That's why I work for mid-sized and big manufacturers. That's why I believe that the demand has to come from the contractor, not the distributor. The contractor tells the distributor what brand he wants to buy, and that whatever the contractor says, that's what the distributor is going to have in stock. So are the large national distributors a good thing? I don't know. They offer good service. They offer good deliveries, and I think that they know that the contractors are very important to them, and they treat them well. But is it better or worse? Your guess is as good as mine. It just gets down to individual experiences with them, I believe.
Well, there's no doubt that we've got consolidation going on in the industry, and it's going to continue. I got a couple other questions here, but before we get there, I just want to add back to what you said about this consolidation, and you brought up a good point. There's tier 1, tier 2 such type contractors. Always remember, a tier 1 contractor, they're going to have maybe an alliance at the beginning of the year to one manufacturer because of wherever the deals are at or what they're doing. You have a whole wide market. Tier 1 contractors are a portion of the market. So as an independent rep, you're wide open on your tier 2s and your other tier 1s. So don't limit yourself. I know I've always seen it being on that. I've worked for a lot of large tier 1s. I work with a lot of tier 1s now in the consulting side and, down the line. But, don't limit yourself to that. Everyone's going after the big fish. It's like manufacturers selling to Walmart or other major property builders because they want the square footage. So it's plenty of it out there. Have the right balance of what products you're carrying. If you got a coating line, you got a single ply line, you got to modify it, whatever. Have it so you're that one-stop shop of the expert. But I got another question here. This one's a good one. I think I'm going to take this one, Ted.
Okay.
And I'm going to let you comment on it as well. This one here is, who makes the biggest mistake gets the job in new construction? So that's a great question. Reason why I wanted to take that is because, yes, Adam, most of the time I believe that's correct. Or you want to be able to go below your profit lines, or you're just looking at filling the bucket and overhead. There's a lot of reasons. I think manufacturers do the same thing. They go in, they cut it, the job's big enough. But I just want to tag off of that. So as an independent rep, we talked a little bit about this earlier in relationships. I can tell you that when I was on the construction side, contracting side, and when I talk to my clients, this is what new construction is to me. It's kind of like having sugar. A little bit of it is good. Too much of it will make you sick. That being said, you're still going to come against it. So where you can bring the value is there's plenty of contractors out there that do a relationship new construction. There is such a thing. There is a thing where you get in on the ground floor and you're doing the design build, and the general contractor is partnered with a roofer. I brought manufacturers and reps in right from a design build, and these are $1 million jobs where they never went to the street and price was not their concern. So it's there. We don't want you to focus on that because that's not where your focus should be. Stay out of that marketplace. Stay out of that where that question was. Absolutely. But don't hesitate if you partnered already with a contractor and they want to bring you in on what's called a design build or something like that, because you will get your money for it. And usually whoever is at the table first on those design builds finishes it right out to the end. So what do you think about that, Ted?
Well, I can't add too much to that, except just my own experience here. One of my best friends is, he's retired now. He was a property manager for large commercial shopping centers and stuff like that. And you're exactly right. That there was a relationship he had with his contractor that did most, or not all, basically all of his maintenance work. When they had a new building or new roof to put on, they didn't contact several different contractors to do it. It was always a private job. And he contacted this guy that did all his small projects for him. And that was the guy that got the big $500,000 new construction or the re-roof project as well. So yeah, yep. There again, it's relationships. So, and there are a ton of contractors. Yeah. And
that's where your training that we're putting together is going to come in. It's going to focus on the relationship, and the lines of business fall in place, correct?
Exactly.
And so I was saying, there was a comment about even better now to focus on the role of the contractor rather than the distributor with all the roll-ups. And I agree. As an independent rep, you really want to build with that contractor relationship with your line.
Absolutely.
So I want to say here to contact us. As always, you can get a hold of me at jkenny@cotneycl.com. And Ted, how do they get a hold of you?
T. Nicholson at cotneyconsulting.com as well. And my other email address is, well, let's just use that one, T. Nicholson at cotneyconsulting.com. It'd be about so I could get in touch with you.
Excellent. So I want to thank everybody for attending today. This was kind of a preview of what we got coming up. Ted and I are getting back together here in a couple of weeks to really start rolling this out. So well, I did have one other question just to let you know. This is going to be available. We could do this Zoom one-on-one. We can do live. And we will also have, like the rest of our training, this will come up eventually on that virtual online, because we know we're going to have people that want to be able to do this as they go. And Ted will be overseeing it and doing the coaching. So there's a lot of ways we're going to bring this so it fits at the whole entire audience.
Yeah, last thought, John. I do want everybody to know that I am available to do one-on-one consultation as well, if that's on either at their location or through Zoom or whatever it may be. So that's available. It's going to be available as well.
Excellent. So again, reach out to us if you got any wants, needs until we get this all rolled out. We're ready to roll. We can do the one-on-ones and the coaching right now. So thank you again, Ted. I want to thank you for joining us today. I thought it was a very informational. It was great kind of running down from the early history right on up to what's going on and what the needs are. And again, I think this is another great solution for the industry. So once again, thank you, and thank everybody for joining. Catch you on the next one.
Yes, sir. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.